Does anyone have a question? Just have a few announcements to make. As I've said before, there'll be no meditation classes this coming Sunday. We're having a retreat here, and it'd be impossible to teach, one of the Zoom classes, or two of the Zoom classes. But there will be class the following Monday. There will also be a class tomorrow. So I'm just letting you all know in case you don't get a invite on Sunday, you're not being overlooked. There's just no class. Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
This one,
Why is it necessary to embrace longevity as far as our inner work?
I don't think it is necessary to embrace longevity. I think it's more important to embrace this moment than longevity. I mean, Rudy, died as a young man, 45 years old, but he had embraced the moment. He was living totally in a very sacred moment, and he was free. They took him. So I don't think that's really important, Bob. I think it's a waste of time, frankly, to embrace longevity. I mean, it's more important to fully and completely live in this moment. Embrace that. You do that, and you have embraced longevity, because all we have in life is this moment. It's really true. You can live to 120 years old, and all you have in life is this moment. And if you're not happy and full of joy and love in this moment, what's 120 years going to do? So I would even worry about longevity. I know there are a lot of Asian cultures that talk about longevity, and I don't know. It doesn't hit a good note to me if you're perpetually embracing the future. But if you completely open and begin to live in the now, in this moment, you've got it. You've got it. There is no future. There's the now. Tomorrow is today becoming tomorrow. It's, so I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, I'm sure somebody wise in the ways of Taoism and Chinese philosophy could explain it differently, but I used to think about that years ago, and then I began to realize, Stuart, what is the purpose? I mean, just go to one of these old age homes and see how people live, living to 80, 90 years old, and they still haven't embraced the moment, the fullness and completeness of living in what really is sacred, and that is the now, the present. And if you develop a chakra system inside, it never gets old. Understand, the body gets old, it gets wrinkled, but the chakra system is totally regenerating itself. it makes you younger inside. And that really is more important than living to 90 years old. Because that enables you to fully and completely live in the moment. I once wrote a novel, which maybe someday I'll get back to and complete and edit and do all the work I have to do on it. But anyway, it's about a young kid, the beginnings of it, the first pages, a young kid growing up in the South Bronx. And, and his parents are making him crazy about, if, you gotta worry about when you're 30 years old and what you're going to become and blah, blah, blah. And they're making this kid insane. And they have this Uncle George who lives with them, who's kind of a, uh, antibody. He's against all the mediocrity of the world and all the, and he says to them, I said, leave him alone. I mean, if he's not a successful 12-year-old, he'll never be a successful 30-year-old. Let him live his life. And I'll never forget, that one line always comes back to me. And it's a 400-page book. And that one line always comes back. If he's not a successful 12-year-old, he'll never be successful at 30. Leave him alone. Let him enjoy being 12, whatever 12 is, with all the mistakes and the blunders and the trouble they get into and everything else. It's part of learning about life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you, sir. That's very good.
You're welcome. And it probably eliminates, just to finish, it eliminates about 75% of the fear that exists inside people. The fear of getting older, the fear of dying, the fear of getting sick, the fear of all this stuff that cripples people. The moment you embrace the moment, all of that disappears. It's gone. It's the greatest healing energy. I mean, there's nobody here who's an infant. I mean, look, everybody has plenty of karma they've lived in this life, you know? You all could tell stories that would make any great novel look like a child's book, you know? We're all living in the future, which is the present and now. So let's really embrace it. Anyway, enough for this. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask? Okay, I'm happy to say my book is finished. It's been edited, very brilliantly edited and designed by Kenny and edited by Jennifer. I mean, really, they did wonderful work. I'm very excited about that. And now comes the hard part, finding a publisher. So it's been one of the most difficult things in the world to do. But maybe this book it's such an interesting book. I think it might do the work for me. Does anyone else have a question? Allie, you don't have a question? I'm just kidding. Don't worry.
Well, actually,
Huh?
actually, now that you mention it, it's not really a question. I'm thinking a lot about what Nick Yolanda said. Whether pleasant or unpleasant, remain unaffected. That's the highest state. And so I'm kind of in a low, I'm having emotions right now that are pretty, I don't know, maybe I'm just releasing a lot of negative things, but it's
That's
not
exactly, dear, what's going on. You've arrived at a place in yourself where you've hit a lot of this repressed tension, anxiety, negative things that you've buried. You've arrived there. You're releasing them, and you're going to experience them. So just let them go.
and and so what I'm thinking about is when things do get better and I'm feeling on top of the world, how should I feel about that? Just remain
Same way.
unaffected, just
Same thing. Let it go.
let it go.
Because the top of the world becomes the bottom of the world, and the bottom of the world becomes the top of the world. You gotta get free of everything, all of it.
I've
You
never
know,
really,
there's a point in your growth where you begin to realize that positive and negative are the exact same energy. Understand? And you gotta surrender, because I've always discovered in my life, if something wonderful happens to me, it's always followed by something negative, always. Something negative happens, it's always followed by something positive. It's a manifestation of energy that exists inside each and every one of us. And we need to be able to get free of both, where there's no longer, how do I use negative things to grow spiritually? Ask yourself that question. How do I use positive things to grow spiritually? So it becomes, just opportunities to develop your spiritual life, both. And crazy as it may sound, we need both. We need negative things to remind us we haven't arrived yet. We need to continue doing deep inner work. And we need positive things because, they just soothe a bit and show us what is possible to attain in this life. But the point of all this is to be free of both. Because if you're stuck on the positive, you're going to get hit with the negative. You're stuck on the negative, you're going to get hit with the positive. So be free of both. Use both of them in their own unique ways as tools to grow spiritually. That's what Nityananda was getting at. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, there'll be meditation tomorrow evening. Thank you and bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and it's extraordinary. As I said the other day, yesterday, come here. And to do this, what I said at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, how many people on the planet Earth come and do a thing like this at 7:30 in the evening, my time, your time, 4:30 or whatever, How many people in the world do this? This is a very sacred thing. And I think we're all very blessed that Rudy left us this. So God bless you all for being here, being part of my life. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Stuart. Good night.
Thank you, Stuart. Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Stuart. I love you.
Beautiful.
Good night.